Hello and welcome to the Build with Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not a subscriber, you can just say hi. If you don't feel like chatting, you don't have to. I want to give a big shout out to Harold, who's hosting the stream. Thank you very much for that. And of course, thanks for being here, Harold. As always, hey, Mr. Hado, welcome, welcome. Happy to have you here. Yeah, don't be shy, folks. Pop in and say hi in the chat if you would like to. Also, as we're getting started, as we're welcoming people, a reminder, right now we are currently at 49 out of 50 subscribers, and we're looking to make that 50. So if you would like to subscribe or resubscribe or gift a sub, now would be a great time to do that, or anytime during the stream. If you don't want to, you don't have to, of course. As always, use Prime Gaming Token or just subscribe, gift a sub, renew your subscription, check to see that your Prime already expired and renew it because you can't suddenly do that. Breaking, Basha says, hey, it's the kit from the line Bandai made to continue spitting Europe in the face. I'm I was unaware that the full mechanics line was an attack. So I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, last week to subscribe with Twitch Prime. That's 46 months. Thank you so much. Well, this should be an easy fix, and it was. We can take that away because we are now above 50. Thank you so much, Lastbrook. Throw those emotes in there. Yeah. For my knowledge, uh, the full mechanics line was just that this current new full mechanics line was them just rebranding the RE100 line, the Reborn 100. Oh, because because they stopped the RE100. Basically, they stopped doing the RE100 line, and now they're calling what was the RE100 line basically full mechanics. And for folks that don't know, the full mechanics line was very brief. It was iron-blooded orphan kits that were 1/100 size scale, but they weren't quite master grades, but they certainly weren't high grades. And just make the kits as MP and P band. So this is a P band kit. It's technically not a master grade. It's a full mechanics, like the Iron Blood Orphan full mechanics, which was also just a way to name the kits they were already making, which were non-graded kits that they were making for IBO. And so the ones that are not graded, you can kind of call full mechanics that came out first. But yeah, they're not quite master grades. They're certainly not high grades. It would be easy to call them the RE100 line or the Reborn 100 line, which has some good kits in them and some not so good kits in them. And there's like a couple Zaku's that definitely didn't need to be in the Reborn 100 line. But then there was also like the Hama Hama, which we just weren't going to get a master grade Hama Hama. So we got something, and I was happy with that. But yes, you're right. This was a premium Bandai kit that I picked up on pre-order, which we'll take a look at there. I have done the arms for. There's the arms, but we have not worked on the chest or the head yet, which we'll be working on the chest next. Yes, this is a kit where you start with the arms, which is weird. We were do the hands first, and then we'll move on to the other parts. But yeah, when the pre-order for this went out, it was an easy choice for me. One, because I had the money at the time, and two, because it's got if you've watched my streams in the past, I've been doing this for 4 years, you are probably aware that I am a big fan of kits with big weapons. And this has big weapons on its backpack. It's got a big old gun, and it has weapons on the shield. I like that. It doesn't have weird weapons like a beam whip or a beam tomahawk axe, but it does have some good guns. Harold, I'm going to get to your question because you did use your channel points, and it is a doozy, so I will get to that in a moment. I do know that getting these kind of kits is very difficult in Europe. And I'm not defending Bandai and their choices anyway, but I also say since, let's say, 2020, at about March, it's been also, well, maybe June, it's been also very difficult to get kits here in the US. You can find old kits at stores and they're happy to sell it to you, but new kits the productions are just bad in general. kits that you pre-order that I pre-ordered from websites that normally would get their stuff like a month or 2 months in advance are getting it a week after it's supposed to be on sale. And it was supposed to arrive, like literally the street date. They're getting them weeks after the street date. It's rough out there for everyone, but I do know that it is very rough out there for Europeans. Not just getting the things that you should be getting, but there's plenty of stuff that folks aren't getting at all. So I do know that. Harold, I'm going to use your channel points. So I'm going to get into your question in just a moment, but we should get started because you did ask a long thing. So we'll get into that as we work on this. Ooh, and I can take this away because we have hit our goal, which is fantastic. And I'm going to retweet my tweet, and then we'll get into it. I do have a few things that we'll talk about tonight. There's a news about a remake or no, a continuation of a show that a movie that there's not a franchise. It was one movie and it came out and it was good. And then I watched a wrestling program, an hour-long wrestling program tonight. Just, I haven't checked in on them in a while, and I'm going to talk about that. But first, I'm going to get into Harold's using the channel points to redeem a question, which isn't super necessary, but it is nice to see. So I will get into that right now. And Harold says, anime adjacent question coming off a discussion I had on Facebook. There was a post of a pic of comic tie-in of the Netflix Cowboy Bebop series, and Spike was smoking, as he often would in this anime. I made a remark. I was hoping they cut the smoking, and I was lit up. Does the Cowboy Bebop live action series need the characters to smoke? So here's the thing. In my opinion, if you are going to do if you're going to do a live action version of an animated thing, one, don't in general. But two, if you're really going to do it, the thing you need to get is the vibe. Now that is not recreating episodes like beat by beat. That's not to me what the vibe is. To me, it's your interpretation of the product, right? So you should, in the process of creating something like this, be answering the question and asking the question a lot, and then answering the question: is this essential to the story or not? Uh, I heard they cut Ed, so I'm instantly devastated or disinterested. Is what breaking. Um, so yeah, so you have to answer. You have to ask yourself the questions constantly. Is this essential to the story? Can you tell the story with this, with or without this, right? And sometimes they fail in those interpretations, and sometimes they succeed in those interpretations, right? To me, the vibe is the music. It is uh, the kind of desperation, the mix of old west and martial arts, the kind of like the dusty desert nature of it. Um, uh, Certainly, the music adds a lot to that. It is the attention to detail of the characters to make them three-dimensional and messy. Um, and in many ways broken and beat down because that is what the Bebop crew is. It is a collection of broken weirdos. Um, uh, and I don't know. Here's the thing: does Spike Spiegel need to smoke? I don't think he does. Does he need to be lanky? Yes, he needs to be lanky. He should not be built. He should not look like the baddest man on the planet. Like if your Spike Spiegel should not be more muscular than your Jet Black, because Jet Black is a hard-nosed detective, ex-cop, and even without the medal, you don't mess with Jet Black, even though he's beat down. Spike Spiegel is gonna kick your head off and then shoot you, and you didn't expect it. That to me is the person. Yeah, smoking is not a personality trait. Smoking is shorthand for I don't care about my health. And just like drinking is a shorthand in media for I don't care about my health. Um, There are other ways to tell the story if you need to tell the story of this character. Um, because even in fuck it, let's say it, even in the late '90s, it's not like smoking was super cool. It had already gone out of fashion. So if you want to say that smoking is part of his archaic, like old sensibilities, then go for it. Then really tell me that. Really go through that anachronistic element of Spike Spiegel. But to me anyway, in my opinion, Spike is a ghost, and you don't need cigarettes to make me believe that. Um, and especially since we're talking live action. Here's the thing about live action that you can do that you can't really do with animation. I mean, you can, but it's hard to do in a television series, a television animated series. Is really good facial expressions. Like this is not just his voice. This is our if this Spike Spiegel can emote his cocky, I can back this up. Oops, I'm in over my head. Actually, I'm not in over my head attitude with this. I'm going through the motions, and just I don't know why I'm still living. That then we'll have then you'll have a success. Uh, Now the idea that there's not um, Ayin isn't in there, or Ed isn't in there. Ayin to me, you gotta have your corgi. You gotta have your corgi. And I wonder why there isn't Ayin. I wonder why they made their Ed, I should say. I would say their Ayin is in there, Ed is not in there. I do wonder why Ed is not there. Is it too wacky for the type of story they're trying to tell? Because hey, let's be fucking real. Ed is a bizarrely wacky character in a pretty fucking grim dark show where the laughs are bittersweet and the happy moments aren't there to make the sadder moments feel worse, but they are there. uh, they're not there for levity. The fun moments aren't there for you, the audience. They're there for the characters to have something to latch on to. So I don't know if having a wacky young lady hacker character is gonna work. Now, do I love Ed the character? Fucking course I love Ed. Ed is a wonderful force of nature. But I do wonder if live action Ed would just be a cartoon character. Hey, Lord Crashington, like, is live action Ed just like a joke? Like, does it work? Or do you have to make live action Ed like brilliant or and not mad? Like not a mad genius, like not a mad inventor, but just like a brilliant, smart kid? And does the Bebop crew need that character? I don't know. I wonder who could have pulled off a character like Ed because you need someone pretty young, right? Yeah, you have to have someone who is young or appears young and can pull off this like basically really like you need a very talented young person that can play this kind of manic, joyfully like bizarre character. And I don't know. I know it isn't around for a few episodes, so I could see them doing a season before Edge shows up. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, like, right? Like, if you're telling me that there is an Ed character at some point, I could see that. But I don't know. I also think that like the thing about is that Ed doesn't. Hmm, I don't know how to say these thoughts. These are thoughts that I haven't really had to think about. Right? These are things. No, I don't know, Mr. Hadel, how many episodes we're getting. I'm actually not sure at all. I don't. I haven't done the research on it. I've just seen some of the photos, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Is basically my thoughts on that. Um, what I will say, like Ed is an interesting character mixed up with all of these because her brokenness is different. She's not in incredible debt. She's not a broken person that this isn't what he wanted, but this is what he can do. Who's trying to keep everyone together, and it somehow is a den mother character. And it's not about a guy that like went incredibly far and then fell and is trying to maybe get revenge and maybe not get revenge and maybe live and that has no idea why he's still alive. Uh, and then there's Ed, and she's good with technology and real weird. And it's like, I get why someone would look at that and go, do we need the wacky sidekick character? I get it. 10 episodes according to Wikipedia. Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Hadel, for doing the research. Appreciate that. But I don't know. Harold, it's an interesting question about smoking. Good evening, Aristophan. Happy to have you here. We're talking about the live action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, I think it's worth to strip it down. Now, will I be annoyed if Punch and Judy are not, if Punch and Judy aren't in it? If we don't have the cowboy characters that are the making announcements about bounty hunters and are in some way a Greek chorus, I'll be annoyed about that because I think that's the levity that the series does need. Um, I will be annoyed if the Swordfish 2 doesn't look fucking cool and weird. Um, I think John Cho looks very cool. I think the photos look good. Um, I think that there like I in these 10 episodes, I hope there are a couple that are those uh the sideshow is kind of like the narrator. Yeah, they're the narrator. They kind of speak for us. They kind of also speak to us. And I think that they're okay. Now we're gonna work on the chest. Now that we've done the hands, we're getting to the chest unit. But I do think that they're important to the story, and I would like to, or important for us to kind of get a glimpse of the world, the larger world, besides the one that we are actively seeing constantly. So I would hope that they have a role. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I would like to see, hey, here's the larger plot things. I could see the show being maybe we don't even maybe we don't even see um Valentine join them. Maybe Valentine's already there. Maybe we follow the process of like getting Ain and getting the dog in the crew. Uh, like I don't know. I don't know what interpretation we do, what they do, and where they go with it. But I think there's like some very cool ways to go with the story, um, whatever story they want to tell. But I also hope in these 10 episodes, hey, Dirty, welcome. I hope in the Cowboy Bebop live action that there are like Monster of the Week episodes, Problem of the Week. Um, I hope that we get a chance to like deal with like small bounties and mixed in with these larger stories because I think that's way more fun to see. But I don't know. I hope it's great. That's basically it for me. I hope it's great, and I hope people really fucking love it. Because I want things to be good. I do. I'm critical when they're not, but I do want things to be good. Now, here's another thing that I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why they're doing it now. But Disney, there's going to be a new Disney Plus movie at some point, and it's the sequel to The Rocketeer? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? And I have no information about this. I just saw like a deadline thing on it and didn't really read it. But hey, I don't think that The Rocketeer is super great, but I do know that it's super good. I think The Rocketeer is like a good movie that I really enjoyed seeing as a kid. I had like very fond memories of that movie. Here's the thing about The Rocketeer. Uh, Rocketeer was cool. Yes. Here's the thing about the Rocketeer. It's cool. Um, uh, the mask is fucking cool. The jetpack, like the bomber, like the flight jacket, which is just a leather jacket, is cool. The design is cool. It's a story of like a guy reaching farther than he would you expect him to like go from being someone trying to do the right thing um to doing like to being a hero. And then also there's this weird patriotism because they're fighting Nazis. And look, I think it's a beautifully great scene. It's a scene. Um, it's going to be about retired Tuskegee Airmen. Ooh, Tuskegee Airmen. Ooh, yes, I did see the cast list, and I was like, ooh, that looks good. Um, Jennifer Connelly is great in it. So here's the thing about the original Rocketeer. Uh, there is a weird bit of patriotism that in today's modern, vibes probably doesn't fly. But at the time the movie was released, this scene worked really well because at a certain point, these gangsters, mobsters, realized that the guy that's paying them, that hired them, that's a Nazi. And they're like, hey, I'm a gangster, but I'm American. And it's a bunch of dumb patriotism where the henchmen realize they're working for Nazis and they're like, wait, we're gonna rob these people. Sure. We're not gonna work for Nazis. And it's like real, it's propaganda, right? It's definitely propaganda, but it's pretty fun propaganda. It's like, okay, sure. I don't know. It's one of those moments that it just like stuck with me as a like, yeah, all right, sure, whatever. Um, it ends up being like a pretty fun bit of business in a very good movie. Um, Jennifer Connelly is great. Everything she was in during my childhood. Yes, she's a fantastic actress. But yeah, it is a fun bit of like it's like, oh yeah, okay, sure. But it also there is a sense of truth in that there were folks that in the war effort that were happy to join the war who were not necessarily pleased with or excited about the U.S. government or were necessarily law-abiding citizens, but also were pretty excited about like going and taking care of people in the world and being in the war effort. You can have patriotism without having nationalism. It is possible. It's difficult, but it's possible. So that stuck with me as a moment that I always remember liking in that movie. Yeah, The Rocketeer. It's pretty great. It's you know what? It's pretty great is what I'll say about The Rocketeer. Um, what's also pretty great? Transition. AEW Elevation is a hour-long show that appears on Monday nights on AEW's YouTube channel. So it's not American television or international television. It appears on the internet. So it is a lot of people who are rising stars in the company or pretty established stars in the company, generally doing squash matches or enhancement matches. If you are trying to be respectful, you say that most of the matches in that show are going to be somewhat named people who are on the rise or who they're trying to make look strong, facing local talent. And if you are generous, you would say they are enhancement talent. They are there to work well, to maybe show off their skills and perhaps work well down the line. Um, uh, and if you are being less than fair, you will call them jobbers because they are there to do a job, which is to lose. And occasionally there are people who work for a company like AW who are on the payroll and they are also jobbers. They have very terrible wrestling records because they're there to lose in more competitive matches. Now, a thing that also happens on Dark Elevation or AEW Elevation, I should say, um, is you also end up with people who maybe you get one match where it's competitive. There were a couple there. A nice thing about this week's episode was there were a lot of women. There were three matches that involved women, and one of them was a tag team match. And that's remarkable for AEW, which does have a women's division. Although sometimes you would not be considered foolish for forgetting that they have a robust women's division. Uh, and so I have some thoughts based on that. First, I want to give a shout out, as always, to Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston was on commentary for most of the matches. He is a professional wrestler who I would call one of the hardest, not hardest working, just hardest men in wrestling. Um, and he, a thing that I really like about Eddie is that he is really enamored with goofing off when he sees wrestlers vlogging. There's been a certain increase right now in the amount of wrestlers, particularly working for AW, who are doing personal vlogs because they're on the road again, and maybe they can make some YouTube ad revenue by doing that. Um, and so, they're cross pollinating. We're like, oh, if you watch Evil Uno, you'll see Ethan Page, and then you'll see like an indie guy like Dan Houser in the background of something like that or whatever. And then most of the time, you're just gonna see Eddie Kingston like trying to steal their phones and making his own content on their channels and just being like, oh, is this a vlog? And you're like, it's not bully behavior because he is like, one, having a very good time and in on it, and two, he also knows that there are people that like him out there, and maybe they're going to tune into that vlog because you say Eddie Kingston stole my phone, and you're like, okay, I'll watch this episode. um Listening to Alex Varro talk shit about the WWE game on Next Later podcast was fun. Yeah. I kind of fell off Elevation, and with the Rampage now, I don't need to pick it up. Yeah, I mean, I just tuned in because I didn't have anything going on today. Like, honestly, I was just like kind of out of stuff that I was catching up on. All right, so we're gonna panel on the back of this, but we won't do the front because there's more to put on the front of this kit. Um, so yeah, we won't worry about the front yet, but we'll do the back just because we have access to this. Just hitting it with a black marker. Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing particularly great about it. Paul White is not a good commentator. Eddie Kingston does not care about being a commentator, and so it's fun. He's kind of going the heel role, and Tony Schiavone fucking rules. And also, there literally this episode was Eddie Kingston uh, referencing the fact that Excalibur is watching the match and feeding Tony the names of moves and details about like what's going on like character backgrounds and like are really helping out. And then Eddie just fucking says it, which is just like, hey man, come on. I know you don't care, but come on. My other thoughts. Uh, there is a jobber or enhancement talent named Cal Hero with two R's, Cal Hero. And Cal Hero wrestled while wearing a fanny pack. And his shirt said fanny pack party. And he is definitely a local talent, and the audience really wanted him to do well because his name is Cal with a K, Hero, and he had a fanny pack. And most of that, his very short match, was a discussion between Big Show and Eddie Kingston about that fanny pack. So you know what? Kid did okay. And I'm going to write down a quote from that match in the commentary. The Big Show said, I want to know what's in the fanny pack. To which Eddie Kingston said, you don't ask that. That's a personal thing. I just think that's very funny and very good. That is just like, hey, don't ask what that's his business. Uh, Also knowing just the hard man Eddie Kingston, who's just like, hey, leave us back alone. I thought that was very fun. Um, Emi Sakura is fucking so fucking god damn it. Oh, it makes me mad that Emmy. They will tell you and they are being honest about it when they tell you, because it's true, that Emi Sakura has trained two of the AEW Women's Champions, and she has. She is incredible talent, who was basically retired except for her own wrestling federation, which she is just, as she like builds the stars of tomorrow, and she's got this chance to shine on U.S. television. Obviously, this was on YouTube, so it's not the same, but still, she no, Lord Crashington. I cannot remember the name of that wrestler, but that is not who Emmy is. Emmy is an older wrestler. She's not a Queen fan, but she is a queen. She is royalty. Uh, and in this episode, she has many assistants in some of the Joshi leagues. Um, and one of them is is it Yuri Pencil? Yeah, Yuri Pencil, who is dressed like an attendant, and then so because Emmy has a cape, she just threw it over her shoulder onto Pencil, which was very fun. No, she is a hard hitting, just incredibly strong, incredibly tough, will fuck you up wrestler. Um, Her knowledge of submission holds is incredible. Her chopping style is just, she is a hard woman, and I definitely don't think she's going to win the battle royale, the women's casino battle royale, uh, but because I don't think she would fit with Britt the same way. But damn, if she's not talented. Um, and the last thing I want to say about AEW uh, Elevation is Will, sorry, not Will, because he changed his name. Powerhouse Hobbs, who is a very fucking good wrestler, up and comer, who is definitely going to get the shine from being in a stable. It's so fucking great that he's in a stable with Taz. He is doing so well there, and it is so good for him. um, uh, um, is that Powerhouse Hobbs' finishing move is called Town Business, and that's a bad name. That's all I wanted to say. His finishing move is a bad sounding name. It's just a bad name. Uh, and that, I guess that's all I wanted to say. um, uh, God damn, I want more women's matches. There were so many on Evolution, and they were so short. Big Swole looked so fucking good uh, in her match. God damn. Um, Nyla Rose tagged with I forget her name. Forget her name, but she was real good. They were real good together. It felt like a good tag team. Damn, they were good. Yeah, there was a lot to really like. And Evolution had moments that I was like, oh, it's pretty good. Ooh, our first red piece. Now this is a very dark red, but we will be using brown on this to kind of make it shine. But we got our first dark red piece on the kit. Excited about there. So yeah, I watched some wrestling tonight, and I thought I would talk about it because I have not talked about wrestling in a hot minute, and also I did lots of data entry today and watched anime, and I didn't really do much else. I did mow the front yard because we are the part of the year where I have to mow a lot, which many of you know I don't fucking like, but I have to do that. So I did that, and that's fine. Um, so yeah, mowing the lawn is not a thing that I look forward to doing, but I did do it. Another thing that I've done in the past couple of days is I read some manga. I read some manga because I think manga is fucking cool. Um, and I'm going to talk to you about some of that manga that I've read. And some of these I've read like two chapters, and some of these I've read like 6 chapters. It all depends on what I want to check out. Okay, wait. So that's what is this piece though? What is this piece? Oh, is that goes there? Okay, so this is gonna go like this. Has to go in. How's this going? How does that go in? There it is. Oh, it goes in like that. Okay. Um, Here's the first manga that I read a little bit of that I want to talk to you about. Um, and It is called Reincarnation of Another World Sage, Strongest in a Different World with Game Knowledge. And I see comments sometimes, people talk about this in streams, and I do want to once again just clarify that the reason why we get these long names like this is it is an attempt by creators of light novels to get you to read their light novel. They are giving you the plot instead of like the new Sage, which is just going to be like, okay, I don't, all right, maybe I'll check that out. This is Reincarnation of Another World Sage, Strongest in a Different World with Game Knowledge. So you're going, oh, okay, it is a person who played a video game is now isekai'd and retains his knowledge of the video game world in this new world. Got it. And you're like, yeah, you do got it, because that's the plot. But you get that from just reading it, which I know some people are not psyched about, but I don't have a problem with that because I kind of like knowing a little bit. And yeah, that's the story. This dude, he was very sick for a very long time, and he was basically playing a VR MMO because he couldn't move around too much. So he played that, and then he kind of knew his time was coming, and he thought he had died, and he probably did. And then he woke up, and he's reborn in a world that is basically the VR MMO that he was very good at. Uh, and he like wakes up to memories. They do the thing where he's reborn, but he's not a child. Like his memories come back at a certain point, and it's very convenient that his memories come back literally right before he is going to go out on a quest and become an adventurer. Uh, so he does that. One thing I liked about it is he is very super overpowered in this new world. But he still thinks about it like it's the video game. So he's like, wait, what do you mean these characters are strong? Those aren't strong monsters. Everybody can do this. And they're like, no, what are you talking about? You're talking about ancient things that no one else can do. And he's like, no, 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 no. These are simple, easy quests that we're talking about. And they're like, no. And I kind of like that. I think that's a fun little bit of business. Um, Yeah, I think it's like decent. I don't think it's great. I don't know if I'm going to keep reading it, but I do like that he's just like very much still thinks of it like it's the game. And he's that thing of like, I don't understand why people aren't as strong as they should be. And he's like, what's going on with that? Why aren't people strong in this world? I don't know. I kind of liked it. Another manga that I've been checking out is Lastbrick says, "Is there an isekai yet where someone is reborn in a game that just sucks? Like, whoops, I was playing a bad game and died, and now I'm in that game." So that's kind of similar to some of the isekai that are dating games. There is a tome game or dating game where a girl was trying to get herself teleported into a dating game, but instead of her, her brother gets teleported, and he doesn't like those kinds of games. So that is similar. I don't actually think that book is that good. I read like two chapters of it, and I didn't necessarily think that manga was particularly great. But that is kind of similar, Lashbrook, where like it's like, oh, this isn't. Most of the time when it sucks, it's because it's a hard game, and they're like, hey, why is this so difficult? Like I don't think it's an isekai, but full dive is like is the premise of it is that it's a game that no one plays anymore because it was so brutally hard that everyone quit. because it's just like way too hard for anyone to be good at. Um, but yeah, I think that being trapped in a Otoma game when you don't like dating games like that, I think is probably the closest. Um, Another book that I was checking out is The Beast Tamer Exiled from the Hero's Party and the Cat Eared Girl from the Strongest Race Meet, which is basically just like the description of the first episode. But I still think is pretty okay. Like, yeah, it's like pretty all right. Yeah, it's the a tale is unfortunately old as time. Is dude was a really good member of the party, and the people that he was with didn't recognize it, and they're just like, "Hey, you're dead weight. Get out of here." Uh, oh, you just carry stuff for us and do reconnaissance and uh, do all our intel and back us up and support us with animals and also healing and various other skills. And then eventually they get a couple other tamers and they're like, well, why can't you do these things? And they're like, nobody can do what you're talking about, because guess what? Not only did they think that tamers weren't that impressive, they also didn't realize that the main dude is fucking really good at taming, and he is like legendarily good at taming. Like, people were just like, what? Like that you can't tame more than one thing. Like, that's not possible. And he does. Like, you can't do support magic. You can't use the magic of beasts that you command. Um, so that's kind of fun. And also, a thing that is pretty fun to me is there are a bunch of cute, fun characters in it as well. There's a beast girl. There's a drag, or I think it is, yeah. There's just different races that he befriends. There's some elves. There's like, yeah, just your usual like, oh yeah, this makes sense. All the fantasy races. Uh, and it is weird, and they don't talk about how like, hey, what do you mean you're taming like superior races? Like, what? Good night, Harold. I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for coming in, my friend. Um, but yeah, it's all right. One thing I do like about the Beast Tamer Exiled is, so most of the time, right? Like I said, somebody gets kicked out of the hero party, right? You're expecting them to be like remorse and, hey, will you come back? And they're like, no, I got something going on. That usually happens later. This one happens pretty early, where they're like, um, they get like, basically they like hire him to do a quest, and he's like, I'll do the quest. I don't want to help you. I can't trust you. And they're like, we're asking you to join us. And so they end up fighting. Uh, and the dude like beats the hero. Our guy like defeats the hero, and that twists him and breaks him. He was already a shitty dude, but this pushes him over the line, and so now we have a hero who's basically a villain, which is interesting. It's fairly interesting to see that. Um, but yeah, but there is a point where they're like, hey, why don't you just defeat the demon lord? Like, I know it's like the quest of the hero to do that, but like, why don't you do it? And he's like, so I don't know. I assume he's going to defeat the demon lord, and I like that. I haven't read all of it, but I assume that eventually he does. Um, Dirty mentions that there's one isekai about a guy who gets transported into a really shitty MMO and uses all the bugs he knows in the game to cheat survive. I forget the name of it though. That makes sense. Yeah, like cheating because you know that it's a shit game and too hard, so you're just going to use the cheats. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know the name of that, but that seems about right. Um, let's see. Okay, so I got two more to talk to you about. Let's talk about Reincarnated as a Goblin, but do you have questions? That's the name of it. I don't know why Do You Have Questions is in the name. It should just be called Reincarnated as a Goblin, but sure, whatever. Reincarnated as a Goblin, but do you have questions? So you got your overpowered main character, doing a dash cancel. I like that. Yeah, that's fun. That's playing with the genre. We're gonna build the waste too. Okay, let's build the waste here. Part of the waste list. Um, we are about done with the chest. Now we can build that. Um, so uh, Reincarnated as a goblin is pretty self-explanatory. Our dude got reincarnated as a goblin, but goblins only live for 7 days. So you're like, well, that fucking sucks. This is gonna be a short story. This dude's only gonna be alive for 7 days. No, because his unique ability is he will live for 80 years. So he can live for 80 years, and so he watches. And normally, you can inherit skills from one goblin to another. That's how goblins survive because they're short. They're gonna breed. They're gonna try to do something cool, and they're going to let other goblins inherit their abilities. That is the goal. But because he's gonna live for a long time, he can kind of help shape the goblin forces. Also, it's pretty cute. He's got glasses and a little hat. This goblin character looks like it's a Toriyama drawing without hair. Like he doesn't have like Goku hair. He looks more like Toad or any of like female nerd characters in Toriyama's work. It's a pretty great little drawing. Like you're like, oh, this guy's awesome. Um, but yeah, he can combine skills and gift skills, which is pretty neat. And it's a fun little show. He he's not like conquering lands and taking over the world. He's still super overpowered, but he's just mostly like looking out for the other goblins and trying to like keep them safe, which is just neat. Uh, and dealing with like what are these humans like? Humans keep fucking showing up to mess with his shit, and he's just like not having it. Uh, and then there's also like definitely a human lady that is in love with him and is very embarrassed, which is fun. Um, she like puts on a nice dress to like be like, 'cause she's like, oh, I think he'll like this. It's fun. It is a fun little bit of business. Uh, let's see. Um, and the last one is let's buy the land and cultivate in a different world. Uh, which is definitely an overpowered show, but also kind of fucking sweet. Basically, a bunch of people got isekai. They each met a god, they were given powers, and then they moved on. Well, there were a bunch of isekai at once. So Hephaestus, who is the god of the hearth and our blacksmith, he's like very excited because he's never been able to give out powers before because Apollo gives out powers all the time. So he's like, I'm doing this one. I prepared you a very incredible one where like your will make things like cultivate. I'm going to give you these cultivating powers where like your imagination will make the impossible possible. You'll like literally improve things by like positive thoughts. It's an incredible power. It's so incredible that when he appears in this like world, um, that they're like, "Oh, you don't have any skills. You don't have any skills." And he's like, "Well, he definitely does. It's just they don't read his skills, or his skill doesn't get read." And they're like, "Well, you're useless to us." And he's like, "Okay, cool. How about you like give me a plot of land somewhere, and I'll just like go there, and you won't have to think about me." And they're like, "Great, get out of here," because they don't understand. He immediately meets a mermaid who wants to marry him. He starts building the land out. They Fishes hopefully catches a mermaid princess wife. Yes, he immediately, because he is now great at fishing, catches a mermaid, and she's like, "Well, you beat me, then I have to marry you." And he's like, "Wait, what? Okay, we'll live here, I guess." Um, and then they go to tackle a dungeon, and they meet the undead lich, who is the undead king, who is like the strongest. He's called the Calamity, and they're like, "Yeah, I found this holy sword." And he's like, "That used to be my holy sword." So he like awakens something in the lich, who's just like, "Hey, just come hang, like, cool. Hi, neighbor." And he hears a bunch of cool stuff. Here's some minions to help you out. Uh, a demon lord demon lord's like general shows up and gets defeated, and then she and some of her demons show up, and they're like, because they were got banished, they're like, "Can we live here?" Which was cute. Um, I didn't say that they met a motherfucking dragon, who is she does have a human form, and it is You're right. It is a little uh like goth young lady. I put this piece on wrong. I did. I put this piece on wrong. Um, and she's just like the other real thing is everybody's like wary of him. He's very good at stuff, very humble, very nice, and also all his food is the best food they've ever eaten because it's just simple dishes that he prepared that he remembers. But because he's making it, it tastes better. But also, it's just it's still a very Japanese show because he's just making cool Japanese dishes, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is real good." What's this again? Hell yeah. So that's why the dragon is like, "I'm gonna come by and hang out. I'm gonna treat you right. I'm not gonna mess with you. I'm not gonna let anybody mess with you." It's very fun. Let's see. Uh, yeah, he made friends with. Oh yeah, also I think he makes friends with the Demon Lord. I haven't got to that part yet, but it seems like he's gonna make friends with the Demon Lord, which is fun. Um, Also, even though there's a bunch of ladies around, it doesn't seem to be harem-y, which is nice because sometimes that's what it is. And I'm not saying you can't have that shit. I am saying you don't have to be like super weirdly horny because there are a bunch of those. We don't need that. Forget the one that is like that I read like a chapter of it and I was like, oh dang, this thing is very horny. I cannot remember the name of it, but there was one that was very very dang horny. I gotta open this up because I put this piece in upside down so it won't snap in there. So I gotta slowly open this up without breaking anything. So I'm using a spudger here to try to separate these pieces of plastic that fucked up. I might have to get the metal sponger out, but I am sure. Yeah, I'm just. Oh, there we go. That'll help. I'm trying to separate this without breaking anything, so that way I don't have to then use liquid cement. But yeah, that's the manga that I've been reading the past few days. Like I said, I just read a couple chapters here and there. These are combinations of me using various legal websites to read previews or first chapters, or in some cases, buying the digital graphic novels from uh, Bookwalker and directly from the publishers, stuff like that. Um, and just kind of checking things out as they come out. All right, let's see. And okay, so this goes. Trying to just get this piece on right. The little ridge is in front. Goes like that. And this is going to go. Nope, that doesn't look right. Hmm. Yep, that's not right. Oh, go like that. Oh, is that going to do it? Okay, so that's right. Okay, there. Is that right? Yes. Okay, I think I got this now. That was a frustrating piece of business that I think I fixed. Or I got right. Yeah. Okay. There we go. That got on there. I'll just do a little. There. Yeah. I don't know why that was so frustrating, but it was. I'm going to panel line this a little bit, then we'll move on. But yeah, that's the manga that I've been reading lately. Um, um, Another thing that I'm going to be checking out that I will be talking about in a future stream is, let me see, what was I going to check out next? Oh, I'm going to check out the strongest magical swordsman ever reborn as an F rank adventurer, which, if I remember correctly, is the story about a dude's third life because he got isekai'd um, once already, and then he got stuck being the emperor, and he was like, all I did was go to magic school, and then I learned swordsmanship because I was bored, and then I died. So hopefully, basically like he didn't have a good time in his first reincarnation. So now we're getting a second reincarnation where he is a low-level adventurer, but he remembers everything. So he's he's a sword god and a magic god. But he is posing as an F-rank adventurer, uh, and so yeah, it's going to be a lot of him. One, it's probably going to be a lot of him like not understanding what's going on in the world, and two, it's probably going to be a lot of him like easily defeating things, which is fun. And he's got a little slime friend, from what I understand. So I'm going to be checking that out, and I'm sure I'll check out other things. Um, okay. All right, we are done with the chest and part of the waist, so we will be moving on to the head unit. We can't do the head unit right now, though, because it's time for a bum, 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 pause for the cause. This is going to be a thing where I talk to you about ways you can support the channel, which I hope you will do. If you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Barricade, the link of the site, the mode in the chat. Let the people know that you are a subscriber, and which is great. You can use that with cash money. You can subscribe that way. You can also subscribe with your Prime Gaming token. We had a renewal. We had a renewal where someone did not put the notification in, so I don't know who renewed that. And then we also had Lashbrook using the Prime Gaming token, 46 months, which is ridiculous for Lashbrook. Thank you, Lashbrook. Yeah, but being a subscriber is an easy way to support what I do here. Cash, Prime. You could gift a sub if you want to be in the gift sub leaderboard for another day before we trip over the new month. You could, if you were gifted a sub in the past, you could convert that to a regular subscription at some point. There are many ways to support me here. I'm going to talk about them. We're going to get back to building soon. Don't worry. I just, because I don't have any sponsors or anything, I do take a little time every stream to talk about ways you can support the channel. And I do it in the middle, and then we'll get back into building. So hang with me, and I apologize. I also have a Patreon. I would say, if you're going to join me on Patreon, which would be fucking awesome of you, please wait until the 1st of September. Don't do it today. Do it September 1st. I would give you a refund, a partial refund if you did it today, because you're only going to be paying for like 2 days a month. But on Wednesday, if you're thinking about me, join my Patreon. It's an easy way to support what I do. Patreon.com/PatBear. First off, you should subscribe to my YouTube. That's part one of that. Just subscribe to my YouTube. It's free. And then turn your notifications on so you know when I ring the bell and all that. The second part of that is that you should, if you wanted to, become a member of my YouTube channel. You get one video a day early. So every Wednesday video you get on Tuesday. Which is a pretty good deal. Which reminds me, I haven't uploaded this upcoming Wednesday's video, and I have to do that after the stream. So that's a fun thing for me to do tonight, because I forgot I haven't uploaded that yet, so I gotta do that. But anyway, yeah, you get a video early. It's another way to support me. Direct donations are also a way to support me. Various means, you can find that there. If you're watching this later on YouTube, what's up YouTube? You can find all this in the show description below this video. If you're watching this on the VOD, you can just click over to the chat and find all these links. Direct donations. YouTube, PayPal, Patreon, and Twitch all go into a fund, and I buy model kits with that money. So if you want to support me that way, that is an easy way to support what I do, which is like that. Those all go into buying model kits, and I appreciate your patronage. Let's see, another thing that you can do if you want to. So I bought this a long time ago. I'm excited to build it. This is from my backlog. I have a few other things in my backlog that I'd be happy to build, but you could put that on hold. If you bought something from my Amazon wish list, I would build the thing you bought from my wish list before I build anything else. So as soon as I finish the Calamity, I would reach over and I'd be like, oh wait, no, can't build that, can't build those other things. I got to build something that you bought with your money. I've got Lego sets. I've got inexpensive high grades. I've got expensive high grades. I've got, ooh, that dropped in price. That's fun. I've got stuff that's very old, stuff that's pretty modern, very expensive things, stuff with free delivery, stuff with like, or free shipping, I should say, stuff that like costs like, hey, why the fuck does this cost $60 for this high grade? Why does the Gundam Seed Destiny 14 Savior cost $60 on Amazon? I don't know, but it does. And I put it on my wish list because I've never built one, and that'd be kind of fun. And there's some equipment on the bottom. But like I said, I'll shoot a video about the thing you buy, and it'll jump the queue. That is the least I can do to say thank you to people that have bought something from my wish list. So if you see something on my wish list you'd love to see me build on the stream, you could purchase that. You could also buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store, where you in your email you will get the code for that, and then you could, if you wanted to, send me a DM on Twitter with that code, and then I will use that money, gift card, to buy something from USA Gundam Store. You could do that. You don't have to, but you could. Um, I haven't checked out to see. I guess the Millennium Puzzle is being pushed. The Ultimate Gear Millennium Puzzle is being pushed to September, so I didn't get it this month. Hopefully, it'll be early to middle September and not late September. That would be nice, but I don't know. But I have a few kits coming in the future. One of which is two or three of which, yeah, all the rest I have coming this year. Three are pre-orders from USA Gundam Store, so who knows exactly when I'll get them. And one is from Premium Bandai, so I should get the Efret Custom in October. All right, we're going to get to building in just a moment. I want to plug my Discord, which is free. You can join my Discord for total free, obviously. Oh, Dirty, your internet is back. Great. Welcome back. I'm going through my ads. The perfect time to be disconnected, because I was just talking about ways you can support the channel, which, Dirty, I'm sure you've heard dozens of times. But anyway, I got that Discord. You can join that if you like. Videos. Today I put up a new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club. I put out a new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club every other Monday. It is my video series where I talk about cool stuff from anime, stuff I'm excited about from anime. This episode is about 3 shows that are currently airing during the summer 2021 anime season that I think you should check out. These are new shows. In case you're like, this season's pretty mediocre, which it is. But there are some beautiful diamonds in the rough. So check that out. Was really hoping to do the Millennium Puzzle after the Banshee. The Moon Gundam is cool too, I guess. Yes, Lashbrook, go to the Discord, check out Lashbrook's photos of the Moon Gundam Clear that Lashbrook is currently working on. But yes, I was hoping that the Millennium Puzzle wouldn't get pushed and would arrive in August, but it didn't happen because I really want to build it. And also, I know that people are going to be excited about it, and maybe my views will bump up a little bit. That would be great. Best to build with Baer. These are just fun little clips. This was from a previous Wednesday stream where we checked out Boyfriend Dungeon and learned the real discourse should have been about a particular phrase or turn of phrase in the show where the thing that people make a shorthand of instead of saying dungeon. And again, reminder that I to myself that I got to upload the next one because I edited it, I made it, but I haven't uploaded it. So that's fun. I'm gonna pop out this over there so I can do that later. Great, getting ready for that. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna do is talk. I'm gonna take a drink of water. We're gonna get back into building in just a moment, so get ready for that. It's coming. Okay, we'll go over to the Calamity. All right. Thank you for putting up with my ad break stuff, shenanigans. All right, and let's work on the head of this kit. So we're finally going to get into stickers. We haven't used a single sticker on this kit yet. And you're like, oh, Pat, it's weird that there's stickers on the head. Well, that means you haven't been building Gundam that long. I got 2 shows to talk about. It was great that I got busy on Saturday and didn't watch Remake Our Life because there wasn't an episode of Welcome to Demon School Irmakun season 2 yesterday because of the there's something on Japan television that was airing on the channel that airs the first episode. So often if there's only one channel that airs the primary channel usually also is when that airs, it then airs a couple hours later on Crunchyroll or Funimation depending. And if the main channel postpones, usually the other networks also postpone the episode. So that got postponed, which is fine. It's okay. So I didn't get to watch a new episode of Welcome to Demon School Irmakun, which is annoying because it is the date episode, if I remember correctly. so we didn't get to see that. Um, is it World Cup quarterfinal round time? Yeah, I think this was a. I actually want to say this was the Paralympics, because the Paralympics happened in the same year when the Paralympics happen in the same, because that happens I think every year when it coincides with a Olympic year. It happens in that country, so I believe the Paralympics were happening this week or this past week, and that's why, if I remember correctly, because I looked it up, because you don't get notice of that. You just have to like you don't see an episode and then you Google and you're like, hey, what happened? So I guess it was good that I didn't watch an episode of Remake Our Life, so I could watch that now. And also, holy shit, this episode of Remake Our Life, Jesus Christ! So the plot of this show is Kyoya. Kyoya is a man. He's a good man. He's doing good stuff. He he's trying his best. He's on his second life, basically. Through some sort of magic or mysticism or some shenanigans, which he does not have a good understanding of, uh, he has traveled back in time 10 years so that he can fulfill his dreams of going to a visual arts school, which he gave up on that dream as a youngster and now has the opportunity to, rebuild his life and do things right. All right, I'm going to make this kit bigger because I don't, or this photo bigger. Okay, so I don't even see this piece on here. G210, yeah, G210, that. Okay. Oh, all right. Oh, I think I get this. Okay, I'll make this smaller again so we can see. Uh, that this is always my least favorite part of these kits is just these small head pieces on a 1/100 scale kit. So it's just like, I don't know how this was supposed to go. It's small and the photo isn't that detailed. Like I can't even see like red on this kit, so look at this better here. Hmm. This looks like two lines here. Like this? Okay, maybe it's like this. All right, so there it is. That's how it fits. It does not fit great in here. So I'm going to layer it up and then it'll fit better. But yeah, that took way longer than I would have liked. I1 is the clear here. Get I1 on. Okay, so remake our life. Like I said, he traveled back in time. He's got three roommates. He already knows that two of them eventually will become very well known people and make incredible things that he will love. And he's got a sense that his third roommate, whose name is Tsurayuki, he's pretty sure Tsurayuki is like has written some stuff that he liked, but he hasn't necessarily decided, oh, he's part of this like incredible group, the Platinum Generation. Like one of his roommates, Nanako, is a member, and the other, Shinoaki, is the other. And so he's like, okay, well, I'm going to help them fulfill their dreams so they can make it. Uh, which up until this episode, I never questioned, but I am in this episode. So there's still a lot to do with the game. They have a month left. They're making a video game together to basically not only like do the work, but also earn enough money that Tsurayuki can stay in art school because he's not being supported by his family, who wanted to become a doctor or go into the family business. So he's kind of on his own, so they're helping him out. Um, Nanako is a natural in the recording booth, which makes sense. Uh, Kawasagawa, who in the future, Kyoya worked under, and so he's aware of her talent. She's a natural when it comes to editing, which makes sense, and he already knew that. And they're getting some help from Keiko, who is this like seeming to know some stuff that she shouldn't, young lady who is part of a circle, and they're gonna produce the game, like they're gonna sell the game under their banner, basically, so that it gets some attention because they're working on this like dating sim kind of game, that visual novel game that Kyoya knows is going to be very popular because he's from the future. Um, but they get the master together. They run into a lot of bugs, and they kind of rally, and they sell it because they're part of a well-known thing, and they have a good cover art, and they have good story. Um, it works, and they manage to sell the game, and they get the money they need, and they worked on this big project. Uh, and Shinaki has doubts about the process. She's like, "Is this all right?" Because they compromised, and they maybe didn't fulfill the kind of stuff they wanted to do. She's kind of questioning, like, was this the right call? Did we do the right thing? Um, and that's further emphasized by the fact that Tsuruyuki is going to drop out of school. They did all this for him, and he's like, "Yeah, you can punch me if you want, but I always thought I was a good writer, but I'm in your shadow, man. You didn't really need me." Um, he's lost confidence in his writing because Kyoya is so competent that he thinks he couldn't succeed with, like, he's like, "You can see without us. You could have done this with anybody. You didn't need us." Kyoya is literally too good of a supporting character, a supporter, that people have lost faith. And then we find out that the pen name that Tsuruyuki was planning on using referenced Kyoya. And that's when he realizes, oh yeah, the third member of the Platinum Generation is Tsuruyuki. But also, how does that happen? Because from the future Kyoya is from, he wasn't there. So how does that work? But also, how is this the path where it's not going to happen? And oh wait, a thing that I never thought about, because a lot of this was like, oh, he's going to be able to do all this stuff, and you get the sense he's like, oh, I'm going to be toe to toe, and I'm going to work with these incredible people, and I'm going to live my dreams of being in this creative environment. But he ends up just being the support network for people who succeed in the future, and it never occurs to him that it doesn't make any sense for him to support these people succeeded without his help. And in fact, now he's hurting, and he's like, kind of like, he's in the rain, just like freaking out about how it happened. Like, instead of supporting these people, he's pushed one of them away. And for some reason, Keiko was there, and she says, I wonder what would happen in the future at this rate. And then Kyoya wakes up, and it is the future, and it's basically the time that he, like, the time that he's had missing, or and he is apparently together with Shinomaki, and they have a child named Maki. And so this is like the present for him if he hadn't traveled back in time, like it's the new timeline. And I'll tell you this, folks, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting him to travel forward in time. And look, there was definitely the sense that something was off with Keiko, because she is like very young looking, and they comment on that all the time about, like, hey, what's going on here? So I was like always kind of wondering what her deal was, but I was not expecting her to be like part of the story of time travel. Like, what's going on? Or is it she just being used in this moment? Or is she like, I honestly I didn't think that this was going to have the drama that it has in it. And two, I didn't think that, like, I just thought the time travel was a way to like set up the show. I didn't think it would, like, there would be a flash forward in the show. Um, that's interesting. This show is already remarkably more deep than I was going to give it credit for. And I don't know, I'm pretty psyched about to see where it goes. Because, like, I literally don't know. I don't know where it goes. So that is interesting to me. So that is Remake Our Life, I think, is a fantastic show. I've talked about it before broadly about like how it uses music from the time period really well, and it knows what it gets its 2006 references very well. It is a very accurate 2006 in Japan, which is just kind of fun to have. But the idea that like a college girl would like, oh, she was going to sing karaoke, like a song she's loved for a long time. Yeah, it would be a 90s anime song. Sure it would. Like 100% would. So it's just like really fun that like that's in there. Oops. Oh, so I can put that on there. I need A15. Um, the other show that I was watching is Seirei Gensouki Spirit Chronicles. Is it an isekai? Yes, it is. It's actually a pretty good isekai. I haven't. I'm thinking I might pick up the manga of this because I've been liking it. Basically, this is kind of like an important emotional episode, but it's not like a plot heavy episode. Uh, we've got our boy Rio. He returns to the village that his grandmother lives in, that his father was from. Um, I'm having internet trouble. Hopefully, I'm getting some drop frames. If you're watching the archive, everything's okay. If you're watching it live, oops, I don't know. Hopefully, I don't get disconnected. We'll see. Oh, I did get disconnected. Oops. Um, all right. Well, we'll hopefully get reconnected soon. We'll hopefully get reconnected soon. Um, let's see. Let's hope. Oh, okay. I'm back. My internet's back. If you're watching this later on the archive or on the YouTube archive, I had gotten disconnected, and I'm back. Okay. Looks like I'm back. And we'll say refresh, and hopefully people will come back in. Yeah, we got Dirty saying Rutro, which is true. Uh, and okay. And I just had someone leave a comment on the video. That was weird. I hope people come back. We're just going to hang out here. And oh, Lashbrook is back. Great. I'm going to type out that I got disconnected, but I'm back. And we'll see if some people come back while I do that. Hold on. Back up. All right. Let me just now. I just got to correct my poor spelling, and we'll go there. Okay, great. Are people here? Are you back? Hey, Lord Cratchin is back too. Welcome, everybody. Sorry for that. Hopefully, folks will come back. Yeah, I got disconnected there. Unfortunately, that happens more than I would like these days. It's a legitimately a fucking bummer that I get disconnected. So I hope people come back and give it a shot. Give me a try. But yeah, I've been having some disconnected continuity or connectivity continuity. I've been having some continuity errors. Anyway, I've been having some connectivity errors lately, which sucks. All right, we got one more sticker to put on here. The thing I like the nice about the kit, only 4 stickers and 3 of them on the head. Then I assume one of them is on the bazooka. Got the back camera sticker, which is annoying to get out because it is so tiny. Get this on the X-Acto knife. But yeah, sorry about that disconnect, everybody. Welcome back, friends. Okay, so it's a Spirit Chronicles. Ryu is back at the village that his dad is from, and his grandmother is there as the head of the village, or one of the people in charge of the village. He is basically just like, hey, Ruri, we're cousins. My dad was, like tells her basically most of the story. I don't think he says like, "Hey, I'm on a quest for revenge." That's one of the reasons why I came here was to like learn about my parents or whatever. But he's like, "Yeah, we're cousins." So like, you know, hi. Uh and he's like, I'm gonna leave in like 6 months. I'm gonna help out around the village. I'm gonna help with the harvest. I'm gonna help protect people a little bit, make the place. I'm gonna help with the water wheel, which we see in a montage. He's like, I'm gonna help out, but I am gonna jet at some point, um, because he's got to go back to the and catch back up with Latifa. Uh, so he says he gets ready to say goodbyes. Um, Sayo, who is definitely like developed feelings for him, is really torn. She would like him to not leave. She basically is just like, hey, will let me come with you. I've been training, so I won't slow you down. It's like that's not it. Like I can't tell you that like I can't respond to your feelings. Um, she did, but she tells him that she loves him, which is a lot. That's a fucking lot. Good for her, but he can't respond to it, which sucks. Um, uh, yeah. So basically, she's like, I can't. But she does develop the courage to see him off, which is it's good for her that she pulled that off and was able to like say goodbye and that they'll see each other again. Um, and I didn't realize that, including all the travel, that Rio has been gone from the secret sanctuary for the Beast People for fucking 2 years. Because this show, the concept of time is really weird for the show because it takes like things take months and months and months and years, and it just loves its time skips. So yeah, we saw a few scenes there. I wonder if the manga is longer or if the manga does a lot of skips or if like the anime is just jumping from things. I don't know. I can't tell you. I have not read the manga. Um, but yeah, he's basically like, hey, he reunited with her. He reunited with some of the other girls that live there. Um, he's gotten taller. They've gotten more interested in him. They already were, and he's like, I can't stay for long. Um, because he's got to continue his quest of now he can really focus on now that he has seen his family and learned more about them and also communicated with them what happened to his parents. He can now continue his quest for revenge. Um, but not before a weird thing happens. Maybe it's because he's grown and his secret arts abilities have grown under training. Maybe it's because he's back in the sanctuary. Uh, but the spirit that has been sleeping inside of him, that has only resurrected itself to help him that one time, wakes up and she is in his bed naked. Uh, and so I'm sure we're going to be dealing with that. I don't think we're going to get to the revenge part in this show. I do think we're going to get to the part where um, he gets to fucking figure out who this girl is and who is she a reincarnation of, and is she reincarnation? Because she, in the dream sense, has like referred to him as Hayato, which is the Japanese person that's reincarnated his name. So I think we'll get a little of that. But yeah, it is a pretty good episode. I was not expecting that. I was expecting her to reappear during like a battle and not just because like she just woke up one day and she is now there. So yeah, that's the two anime shows I watched because I'm not watching To Your Eternity. I'm not watching that show about the kids show like the children's show that is run by people who have given up and are sad. I'm not watching that show either. So, um, yeah, I don't really have a lot of Sunday, Monday anime to watch. And now's the part of the stream where we talk about what are y'all watching? What are you checking out? I want, like I haven't been watching a whole lot of stuff on the old internet. Um, I've been trying to get into uh, um, what was the name of the show? Oh yeah. I was trying to get into the Swedish version of Taskmaster, and the language barrier is tough on that one. Subtitled comedy is tough, um, so I don't know if we're going to keep watching it. I also can't tell if it's the language barrier or if I don't like the show, if I don't like the characters and not characters, the cast. Because there are seasons of the UK Taskmaster that I don't like, as much as other ones, because it is all about the casting uh, and the tasks. So it's possible that I'm just like, meh. Do you ever check out the first episode of Gundam Build Real? I hope they upload the rest. Yeah, I did. You know what, Lashbrook? I was going to bring that up. I forgot that's on my list of things to talk about. I thought that was cute. I mean, it is definitely a kids thing, and I do wish that the budget was bigger because it does feel like all right. But I think as a concept, it's a fun idea, and I did enjoy the first episode. And it would be cool if the official Gundam YouTube did upload more of them. That would be rad. But yeah, I thought that was okay. I thought that was pretty good. So yeah, I would check out more of that if I could. Um, let's see, what else do I want to say? We're gonna put these on here. I'm trouble getting. I'm trouble getting this on here, so we'll get that in a second. I watched Boss Level last night. It was a good movie. Haven't checked that out. Dirty. Don't know about that, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Um, yeah, like I said, I've been reading a lot of reading a lot of manga lately. That's kind of been my thing. Um, Video games, I kind of restarted Boyfriend Dungeon to kind of fully commit to a couple other characters that I hadn't really saw too much in the first playthrough, and it's fine. Oh, it's basically Groundhog Day with guns. It says dirty about boss level. Okay, that makes sense. I understand what you're saying with that. I think. There we go. Now I got that on there. That was annoying. All right, the head is done. So now we can assemble all of these parts together. Um, and we are like halfway-ish done because we got to do the legs and the connector of the waist, and then we've got to build the backpack and the big guns and all the other stuff, the shield and all that. So we're not done with this kit, but we made some progress on this kit. I am happy with our progress, so that's fun. Um, I'm a good ways into season 2 of DS9. Like the episode where Garrick foiled Goldcott's political coup. I mean, Garrick is a really fun character, like Dirty says. Garrick is a very strong character. DS9, it's the old saying. Uh, Enterprise is great when Reichert grows a beard. DS9 is great once Cisco shaves his head. Like once Cisco shaves his head, ooh, that's when it gets good. There are good episodes before that, but that's when it gets good. I should also say that since you're going through it, Lashbrook, and we already talked about that, the pilot episode of DS9 is fucking really well done. Going in as Bashir being our entry point to the series and the weirdness of it, introducing all the characters, go back and watch that pilot. Does it hold up as a storytelling? Maybe not, but as a pilot, it is a very good pilot. It is really well done. Really like, really just like, oh yeah, okay, I get why, like, how this got sold. Excellent pilot. Um, Two of my favorite pilots for watching for critique and to like explain how pilots should go is that episode of DS9, the pilot, and the pilot episode of News Radio. The first episode of News Radio is perfect to set up all the characters and all of their games as the characters are developed there. And do the characters grow and change? Of course they do. But that is a great introduction. Uh, Yeah, Garrick becomes important. Garrick is not the most important character in the show, but he's got stuff. He is like I would say he's like Quark level of important in that like Quark has episodes that revolve around him, but then there's gonna be episodes where like, oh yeah, Quark's bar, that's a place. Like you don't end up at Garrick's all the time, but he is an important character to the story. He gets some shit. He gets some shit done. Uh, he's not like like O'Brien has some seasons where O'Brien is important, but then there's also seasons where it's just like, oh yeah, Chief O'Brien and Keiko, they're characters in the show, huh? Forgot about that. Um, God, that news radio pilot fucking still is really funny and good. I watched it, I think like a year ago. I want to watch it again. God, so good. I mean, there's some good. That's a whole topic of conversation. Is like good pilot episodes of TV and what they can do, which is just like they are there to sell you. Um, some shows right from the pilot, you're like, I'm in, I got this. Other shows like Parks and Rec's first season is fucking rough. It's like I love that show, but boy, do I not love the first season. Um, but to talk to a contemporary, uh, you learn some things about Chief O'Brien's past. But yeah, I mean, look, Chief O'Brien he gets some stuff to do way more than he did in Enterprise or Next Generation. Say not Enterprise, Next Generation, but it's still like, man, I don't care about that dude. I don't care about that dude and his bad marriage. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, Community's pilot episode, pretty strong. I mean, it was like make or break for that show. So it does feature a strong pilot. But yeah, sometimes they take a few episodes to get great or find their footing or have characters make any sense. Um, and sometimes it's just like, nope, they know the tone of this. And then some shows you don't even get the fucking first episode because the people who are in charge of it fuck up royally, and you don't get the you don't get the pilot. You get like episode 4 or something. Oh, Andy Richter controls the universe. They aired the episodes out of order, and they had characters. His neighbors were in an episode, and then the next week they were introduced because they did the part of introducing those characters, and then they fucking aired them in a different order. So it was like, oh, so frustrating. Fox gave Andy Richter 2 shows and both of them, and then he was like, oh, we'll give you another show and no support for this other show either, and we'll air the episodes out of order. Oh, such a kiss of death. I mean, they also did that with the Clerks animated, which makes more sense because ABC didn't understand what it was getting. Where they didn't air all the episodes and they aired them out of order. So there was a villain, the created for the Clerks cartoon villain who was not part of the movie was was introduced in an early episode, but they aired episode 4 first. And so it was just like, wait, what? Oh God. Maybe they only episode air 2 episodes? Yes, they had episode like 4 and 1. Uh Jesus, that was like I'm not even gonna try to pretend that that was like a great show or anything, but it was like not terrible. It was worth airing at in order at a good enough time slot. It wasn't air it after the Super Bowl good, but it was like totally fine. What are you gonna do? I don't run television networks. I still have the DVD in my closet. Yeah, I think Lashbrook I have the Clerks animated DVD somewhere. Maybe I did sell it at one point. I mean, I definitely watched it a bunch because it was fun to see all the episodes and the commentary and all that. Still a good like the having Kevin Smith point out the bowls of rice in the backgrounds of several shots uh, because couldn't catch all of them, but the animators, the South Korean animators, who were just putting weird things in the background for their own enjoyment or because they were unhappy with their working conditions. Who knows? But yeah, there's like a bunch of those commentaries were good. You got a lot of good stories on that. Obviously, Kevin Smith, a big fan uh, of putting himself in the not just in the projects but also in the commentaries. I think the original Mallrats commentary was made for the Laserdisc release of Mallrats, and then later put on the DVD. Um, but yeah, that dude loves his commentary tracks. And why not? Maybe it was the original Clerks Laserdisc that he did that. I can't remember, but I know the first one of his commentary tracks was for the Laserdisc edition. All right, so then I got to put this on here, put this on here. Oops, let's go. There we go. Oh yeah, we got a little bend here. Not a lot of bend in these legs, but we got a little bend. We were able to do all this at once. This is where it's definitely going to be picking up the pace because the a kit like this non-grade kit, the legs are not going to be as like they're just not going to be as detailed as you would get on a master grade, which I understand. But yeah, like this part of the leg here is going to be 3 pieces instead of like 20 pieces. Uh, I had no idea Laserdisc had commentary tracks. Yeah, it was usually like the flip side of the disc would have like, so basically the top disc side would be the movie, and then like the other side would be like all the bonus stuff, or also like a different audio track. And that's not every Laserdisc double disc, but that's a lot of them. But yeah, some Laserdisc had commentary tracks because people want to, uh, people like that shit. Looks like I'm going to need to get Paramount Plus unless I want to go to a bar Thursday to watch the U.S. versus El Salvador match. Well, Dirty, maybe you can get a deal on Paramount Plus for like a short amount of time, or maybe there's going to be other sporting things that pique your interest. Get it for a month. Watch Below Decks and or Lower Decks, as you say, and you know all the other whatever Paramount like exclusives are, and get some footy in. Uh, but yeah, I mean obviously it's Picard season 2 out. Dirty, I do not believe it is because but I also can't tell you for sure, but I do not believe it came out. But my general recommendation would be to not go to bars, but also you do you, and I can't tell you what to do and any of that. But I'm certainly avoiding crowded indoor spaces as much as humanly possible. But you make your call. You live the life you're gonna live. We're gonna get this done. We are gonna wrap things up in a little bit, but I'm gonna get some progress done on these legs. And then I guess I'm gonna start figuring out what I'm gonna build after this because I don't think we're not gonna finish this on Thursday, but we are gonna get like closer to finishing this. We're gonna be on our way. Like we might finish this on Saturday because, like I said, this is it's not a full master grade, so not a done deal. Also, what was I gonna say? Um, I mentioned this a few times. I will say this here. I will not be streaming this Wednesday. This Wednesday, I will be taking part of a day off Twitch, and I will be tweeting throughout the day, like when I normally would be promoting the stream. Instead, I will be basically echoing the voice of many people to call out Twitch to actually put in place tools that would help people to be proactive in if a like it's they know when accounts suddenly have 2,000 followers that have never streamed. They know that data is there. They can search that data easily. They could make tools to help this with what's happening, and they choose not to do those things. They actively choose to not do them. So I will be taking that day on Wednesday to echo those voices, to retweet a lot of people uh, who are smarter than me about this stuff. Uh, and again, uh, I don't have to tell you this. You know this. We're not going to be in people's streams that night being like, "Oh, you're streaming tonight, huh?" Everyone gets to make those choices. Particularly marginalized streamers can make the choices they need to make for themselves. I happen to be in slightly a privileged position, so uh, I can take Wednesday off and instead try to be active participant in echoing voices. So I will do that. Because that is the least I can do. Dirty says I haven't been to a bar since 2009, so I'll more than likely get Paramount Plus. Hell yeah, that is in my opinion, the way to go. All right, let's keep working on these legs. Eventually, we will have to put on do some panel lining too. This lovely color, this lovely teal. So yeah, so no stream on Wednesday, but I will be back on Thursday. Um, working on building, continuing this build. We will wrap up in a little bit. I want to get a little more done here. We are going to raid tonight, so don't worry. We are going to go on a raid, and we'll go and see somebody out there and check in with them, um, see what they're up to on a Monday. Uh, it was nice. Saturday was nice to raid. See, here's the fun thing about raiding Patrick on Wednesday, um, was it was real fun because Ryan he was playing Chivalry 2 with some other Polygon and Vox people, um, and one of them was Ryan Simmons, who you may know his voice and some of his face on some secret base stuff because he's done some SB Nation secret base things. Um, but I know Ryan as a very funny improviser from New York, and he was playing with Patrick, which I didn't know. I didn't know that they were doing that. So when I raid Pat, it was like, oh, oh, cool. Ryan's here. It was just like it was a nice little bit, and also then we started talking. Like I was chatting with them, uh, and talking about like New York shit, New York comedy shit, and it was just nice. Just a nice bit of business. This is like, oh, a good person that I think highly of. That I haven't seen, not just because I don't live in New York anymore, because also he moved to LA. But yeah, Ryan rules. So it was just like just a neat thing. I think that was a fun raid. All right, let's get these pieces done, and then we'll raid. Find, oops, just knocking things over now. Just knocking things over. We'll find somebody cool to raid tonight as well, because it's cool to do that shit. Okay. And we'll leave panel lining for another day because we also have to build out this anyway. We didn't build the feet. Often in these kits, you would start by building the feet and then working your way up to building the rest of it. But we didn't do that. We just started working on the legs. Kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, and this snaps in like that. There it is. Oh, there we go. Then we'll have okay, now we're going to build the feet, and that'll connect, or yeah, and then there's the side parts on there, and the connectors. Yeah. So yeah, on Thursday we will continue to do that, and then build the waist, and then finish the body of the kit, and then we'll build the backpack and the weapons, and that will be basically it. We'll get this lovely kit done. But we got a lot of progress. We did the chest and the head, and we did a bunch of the legs. We got a lot of progress done today. I'm very happy about that. And I'll take a photo in a moment. But first, we've got to raid. We got to go find somebody to go hang out with and check in with them. So we'll go to the intro stream here while I go and find somebody to go hang out with. Don't worry, we'll go check some people out. We'll see who's doing some cool shit here. And let's see. what is going on here? All right. Well, we're gonna go raid. Um, we're gonna go raid Xandra, who is playing Final Fantasy V, a favorite of mine, one of my favorite Final Fantasies. Um, doing the four job fiesta. So I don't know what that means. It says playing it with a twist. So we're gonna go raid Xandra, who rules, absolutely rules. Uh, so feel free to come along on this raid. There we go. So feel free to come on this raid. I hope you had a great time. I had a fun time with you. I hope you'll have an excellent rest of your night. I'll see you on the next Build with Baer on Thursday. Thanks for coming, and we're gonna go raid Xandra. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.